Still on labor matters, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors is also not happy with the federal government. The association has commenced an indefinite strike over its demands that have not been met. NARD President Innocent Orji says this decision was reached during the July National Executive Council meeting in Lagos. The doctors are demanding the implementation of the one-for-one replacement policy for healthcare workers, a new hazard allowance, the domestication of the Medical Residency Training Act, among others. Recall that the House of Representatives on Monday met with the resident doctors, pleading for a 2-week grace in a bid to avert the planned strike, which has now taken effect. The federal government says it is determined to raise the country's gross domestic product and significantly reduce unemployment by creating meaningful opportunities for the teeming Nigerian youth through cassava. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, Nebiole Sanako, disclosed this at an event in Ibadan. Olaide Oyewole reports. After that, business news.
Nigeria is facing food insecurity, but the federal government is making efforts to address it head-on. The United Nations recently projected that about 25.3 million people in Nigeria would face acute food insecurity during the June to August 2023 lean season.
Implementation of the
That is why the federal government, through the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, is sensitizing these stakeholders on how it would harness the cassava industry for availability of food.
Thus, the bioeconomy policy aims at promoting sustainable economic growth and development by creating a bio-based economy that will contribute to job creation, poverty reduction, and increase access to food and energy. This will be achieved through the development of the cassava bioeconomy.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, food inflation surged to 24.32% in January 2023 from the 23.75% recorded in December 2022, the highest in the last 4 years. Now, the sensitization workshop is aimed at demonstrating the effectiveness of private sector approach in promoting investment in renewable biomass.
Because we just have to take the bull by the horns. We cannot depend on importation of machineries. We cannot depend on importation of technology transfer. We've got to develop our own basic indigenous technology.
That my colleague is willing to donate 2,000 acres of land for this project.
To the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, it is ready to key into the innovation to nip the menace of youth unemployment and hunger in the bud.
I want to assure you that IIT is strongly committed to work with you in this and in other projects that shall be identified.
The sensitization workshop with the theme, The New Economy for Achieving Economic Diversification, Employment and Economic Growth, is a proactive approach towards ensuring food sustainability through innovation. Olaide Oyewole, TVC News, Ibadan.
Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, has signed an executive order on financial inclusion. The order aims to address the exclusion of approximately 2.1 million underserved citizens in rural areas from accessing financial services. Our correspondent Lupe Asom reports.
Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani is flanked by senior government officials as he officially signs his first executive order, and it is on financial inclusion. The executive order aims to address the exclusion of 2.1 million poor, underserved and vulnerable citizens in rural areas from financial services. He says the Financial Inclusion and Literacy Committee will develop strategies to include the target population in the financial system and equip them with financial skills.
I have the statistics, which was also confirmed by the World Bank, that about 70 to 70% of our rural population are financially excluded. Because of that, here in Kaduna, we have decided to ensure that the vulnerable people within our own society in the rural areas are captured.
A state register of the poor, underserved and vulnerable will be established and verified. Kaduna State government will include 1 million citizens in the financial service sector within a year.
From our statistics in Kaduna, we have about 3.5 million population within our rural local governments. And out of the 3.5 million, over 2 million are financially excluded. That is why we have decided to come up with this position to ensure that at least 1 million have been able to be part of the financial services in the next 1 year.
The governor is also full of appreciation to the president for reviewing the 8,000 naira cash transfer program based on public feedback.
That is a very important decision. I would like to especially commend Mr. President for putting that transfer on hold until we are able to capture the right people. Because if we don't do that, the monies will go to the wrong people, not the actual vulnerable people within our society.
Key stakeholders like traditional rulers and religious leaders will be consulted for mass sensitization. The Committee on Financial Inclusion and Literacy will coordinate implementation together with relevant government agencies. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.